I would ask that you would please be quiet till to a point so that we can count and concentrate. We all know this is very important. So at the time that we can speak, we will speak in an orderly manner. We are two voting citizens, and we want this to be as great as it can be for our city. Okay? Thank you for coming. Great as it can be for our city. Okay? Thank you for coming.
We're gonna count and see how many we have. That's it. Okay. We have 9 absentees that we're gonna process that came in after the election was closed. That was processed, that was dated on June the 3rd.
They had to be dated May,
They had to be dated,
the week prior, the week off, from election day till Tuesday at 5 o'clock. So these are the ones that came in.
yes. These are on which we have. That they have to be post law by June 3rd.
So now we're looking
Okay, we're gonna announce the name. Okay, we're gonna announce the name, address, and the piece wards that they are in. Okay, Holly, Holly
Carnicolis,
Cross is in Ward 1. Angela Pope,
they're not in alphabetical order. Read. Hope has already been counted the day of election.
Okay.
Yeah, John Carter Cross.
He's in Ward 1. We just checked verify. Okay. Yes, yes, okay. William Conover.
William Cross.
He's in Ward 1. He's in Ward 1. Alex Owens.
Right there, Alex Owens, Ward 3.
Brother Adams.
Ward 4.
He's in Ward 4. Frankie Dorsey. He's in Ward 1. Larry Dorsey. He's in Ward 1. Yes, you're asking. She's in Ward 2. She's in Ward 2.
So now we're working on here that these are accepted.
We need to check that out. Checking the signatures right now.
Okay. Okay, so now we're looking for an application to verify that these signatures, are the correct signature of the person. And we have no application. Therefore, we cannot accept any of these. That 10 ballots.
Yeah.
Or 9.
9 ballots, no application.
Wait, no application. No registration application?
Just a minute. So, it's our understanding that, we cannot accept these applications because we cannot verify that Joe Smith signed his ballot. And so an application was not returned with these ballots, and so the process will then be that we have to reject them. Beyond that, I'm not qualified to answer any more questions. I don't know the process that will happen.
In the application decision.
So it will go back to answer that question or to get, these forms that we can verify.
Where's the clerk?
The city clerk is.
Well, she needs to be here.
Well, by law, she doesn't have to be here. This is the revolution. Well, by law, she doesn't have to be here. This is the revolution.
She's in her office, probably.
So what's the resolution? Yeah.
Well, the resolution, for today is that we will reject these 9 ballots today.
Yeah, the resolution board is to accept after the application, check them, to accept and reject.
Are you to accept affidavit now?
No, we don't do affidavits. No, ma'am.
Or
We don't
I
strictly do
says
affidavits.
they weren't told to return it, something's not right.
So, there's a process after this, and I'm sure when we go back in there and tell the city clerk that they will start initiating that process.
Jacqueline, second congressional district chair. Those particular absentees were mailed out by the clerk's office. The clerk has to have the applications if those are permanently disabled. Are they permanently disabled?
Can you review and see if they're permanently disabled, any of them are permanently disabled on there, or if there's any place on the envelope where they are permanent? Or does it, is it on your record? And I'm going to stop.
Here's the disabled list and all, here's the disabled list and all.
They're the applications are not allowed to be mailed inside the ballot envelope.
No.
So the application always has to be mailed separately or inside a bigger envelope.
That's what, so the clerk doesn't have the application.
That's what they're saying, the applications were never returned.
And, no,
No,
so
so it's,
I've done absentee
there's no one,
ballots.
there's no, yeah,
Don't
all
recall
these are
this.
no's.
They're not permanently disabled, they're all,
no, we're going to this list.
Will that return?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, Will Allen Kern is,
It doesn't matter.
yeah, Will Allen Kern is,
Yeah, no, that's being,
right, all of them are no's.
what is it, list?
Disabled list, that means,
there's a permanently disabled list on the circuit clerk's office, and if they're not on that, then they have to have an application.
okay,
They got no on all of these.
Have to have an application.
okay,
They got no on all of these.
yeah, so we,
All to the list, we got no.
right, yeah, circuit clerk, circuit,
Y'all know that
circuit clerk, circuit,
anyway. Y'all know that anyway.
all these are no's, so there's no one permanently disabled on this list.
I guess that's why I never had an application.
Next step.
Is,
Mark those.
Yes, what you, yes.
ma'am, you with the Secretary of State?
I am.
Do you mind if I ask you a question?
You can ask, I can try to answer.
Okay, so, I know we've been here on several occasions, and, during the process, we've noticed that a lot of things were not done per policy or how it's supposed to be conducted. Is that something that you will be looking into as well while you're here?
I'm here today just to observe this process. I don't have any facts on anything that's occurred prior to this time. If there are, anything that's been reported to our office that's a violation of election, anything that's been reported to our office that's a violation of election law, we always refer that to the Mississippi Attorney General's office, because they're the actual enforcement agency for that process.
So one last thing, I have Ms. Abraham, she helps work at the poll, and she had witnessed several things that went on that night. Well, they were not done correctly because how they were trumped. So I thought that would be something that you all would want to know, so that we could hear it.
If you will send us an email and let us know, and if anybody wants to send an email, my email is laura.courtney@sos.ms.gov, and we'll welcome any information that you provide to us. If there is a violation of election law, we will forward that on to us.
Could you repeat the email, please?
Laura, Laura, .courtney@sos.ms.gov.
Okay, ma'am.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm the professor, the one she's talking about, and I have a question myself. I just wanna know why each ward is not in their own box. Why is everything in Ward 3 box? That's the only question I wanna know. If we
And,
got,
and I can't answer
we got-
specific questions like
if we
that.
have a Ward 1, 2, 3, and 4, why wouldn't Ward 1 that was mailed in be in Ward 1? Why wouldn't Ward 2 that was mailed in be in Ward 2 box? Why do we only have 1 box when we had 4 boxes the night that everything went on? And we have 4 boxes now for the precinct, for each ward. So why is everything in 1 box? That's the only question I need to answer.
I'm going to answer just as briefly and succinctly as I can, and that is the absentee ballots are not sent to the precincts, and they're not separated by wards. They're kept in the secure absentee box, and they're processed then by ward so that they can be, those counts can be added to the specific wards. Eventually, they will all go in with the ballot box materials once the election is certified. Once the election is certified. But for now, everything is separated out and kept. The absentee materials are kept separately until everything is resolved regarding the absentee materials. And all of the absentee materials are always kept supposedly with the city clerk, or in the case of county elections, the circuit clerk, until everything is resolved, and then it's the resolution board resolving it, and then it's returned back as part of the ballot box materials.
They had the affidavits right there as well, when we came on Monday.
The affidavits are separated at the precinct, and they're determined by the municipal election committee.
Well, they were all in that one box.
No, the boxes all look alike. They were not in
No,
this box.
it was, I have video.
Many facts. You know, and I was not.
No, that's not what she's saying.
And I understand that, and I'm not here to, answer any legal questions about what was or was not done correctly. If you want to send me an email, I'll be glad to receive that. If we think that there's a violation, we'll be glad to forward that to the Mississippi Attorney General.
I have a question, but it's for the resolution board. Who is the first for the resolution board?
My name's Donna, Mrs. Leland.
Okay, Ms. Donna, my question is, what type of meeting is this classified as?
A public hearing, a public meeting, I guess. It's a
Okay, it just wasn't announced.
It's a revolutionary board meeting.
I get that, okay. But it's supposed to be announced to the public when you enter what type of meeting, what we're here for. It's a public meeting, and it's to count the absentee ballot. And for further transparency, you're saying that you had 9 absentee, for transparency, you're saying that you had 9 absentee ballots that is counted today, and you verified. You're saying that all 9, they're being rejected, correct? Okay, so the next step, correct? Okay, so the next step, you report back to the clerk. Is this the end of the process, and she will do her tally and certify the election?
Yes, yes. Yeah, 'cause we finished.
I don't know that answer.
Yeah, we finished. This is all.
Yeah, this is all we'll do.
This might be a question for the Secretary of State. Is there a cure process in Mississippi for rejected absentee ballots?
There is only one available cure process, and that is if the application are on the back of the ballot, envelope. In this case, there were no applications received for these particular ballots, so the secure process doesn't go into effect because there was not a signature mismatch. That's not the reason that it was rejected. It was rejected because the application was not received.
The application asking for the absentee ballot?
Correct.
For the absentee ballot
Correct.
is not anywhere to be found?
It was not received. I don't know if it was not, if it was lost in the mail. I don't know exactly what happened to it. If it was lost in the mail. I don't know exactly what happened to it.
Okay, wait a minute, come on now, be quiet.
The application,
Don't do that.
wouldn't that stay with the office? Why?
No, the application is mailed to in a mail-in absentee process. The application and ballot are mailed to the applicant. It is the applicant's responsibility to get the application and the ballot envelope back to the clerk in a timely manner. It cannot be It cannot be in the same envelope. In other words, the application can't be included in the ballot envelope. It can be mailed in a larger envelope with the application and sealed ballot box and ballot envelope inside. But if they're mailed separately, then you're waiting on the application to come back so that you compare the application signature to the signature on the ballot
So
envelope.
all of these 9 people failed to return their application, that's what you're saying?
It's because on one of those ballots, you said that the post, whoever that post person is, you said that that ballot had already been counted, so why was it in that box? Ballot had already been counted, so why was it in that box?
Because she mailed in another ballot.
So she get 2 ballots.
Well,
She probably went in
had to
person.
vote. This lady walked into the Coliseum on election day. It was on the bleachers, taped across the bleachers, and anybody could come up and see it. On the bleachers, taped across the bleachers, and anybody could come up and see it. That day, we had her application, and we accepted it. She has since mailed in another one, postmarked what day? Postmarked what day?
May 16th.
May 16th.
So if you already had one for her, why was she able to vote in person?
She didn't vote in person. We had another vote in person. We had another,
Absentee.
application that came in twice.
And I will say this, oftentimes someone will ask for an application, it won't come in, and so the clerk will void the earlier application and send them out a second one. And the first one, or then they got the second one, mailed the second one in, got the next one, and out of the.
And so the person responsible for receive the applications, they mail it in, is the city clerk.
When it comes to the city
I see
clerk
no problem in
office.
this, is the city clerk.
When it comes to the city
I see
clerk
no problem in
office.
this.
State
Clearly.
statute, if I'm not mistaken, state statute says that resolution boards are made up of an odd number, there's 3.
Third person, he was sick the morning of the election, and then after the election, whomever, I don't know who it was, male, female, said after the election, whomever, I don't know who it was, male, female, said they were not gonna be a part of the revolution. Well, we called the Secretary of State's office, we called the Secretary of State's office, and they said to go with what we had.
And that question we have to ask
This whole
the
list,
clerk, because
the list
She's
that
in
you
contact
hold in
with
your
her.
hand, mail-in ballots that were received on the 3rd and the 4th, that cannot be the list that was posted at the Coliseum.
No.
List that was posted at the Coliseum.
No.
Correct, so it's inaccurate to say.
This is the list that was today. This is the original list.
I just wanted to get that clarified.
No, this list right here that we're working on off of today is these ballots right here. This was just our list to double check in case we needed it.
One last question. After the election, have no other absentee ballots been received in the office since?
They were rejected from the other, what was it, Monday night when they had the.
I don't have any personal knowledge about the affidavit.
To me, it seems like that maybe the citizens may have not been told the process that they need to take in order to make sure that their ballots would be accounted for, to be counted for, because it was the same situation, from Monday night with the affidavits. So I was just wondering, is that something that maybe, we need to put in the email as well, because you're saying we can tell you, but putting it in the email would be maybe better. You're saying we can tell you, but putting it in the email would be maybe better resolution.
Yeah, if you know of the specific concerns regarding the affidavit envelopes, just send those to us and we'll be glad to address any envelopes, just send those to us and we'll be glad to address any legal questions that there might be.
Okay, we're gonna lock this box up. There's no need for this
I
box
put
to
the
stay
other
on.
seal back in there.
Yeah, we're gonna lock this box up, put our seal back on it,
And
I see she got a question.
Can y'all call up?
Oh, it's in there.
It's in the box.
I have one question for clarification. She asked you a question about the board supposed to be consistent of an odd number. The statute says a minimum of 3. So that we can get understanding and transparency, you said as Secretary of State authorized you all to have a 2-member board.
No.
No.
we said-
Okay, that's why I'm asking for clarification.
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, that question you have to ask the clerk.
Somebody go get her.
Yes, I-
She gonna be roasted today.
And for the record, we couldn't authorize anything one way or the other. We would not have taken a position one way or the other as far as that.
So I have a question for you as well. You said that, you would be here to determine if something was did wrong, is that what you said?
No, I'm here mainly to observe and to observe the process is what I'm here for.
So that's all that you.
And to provide anybody, like I said, information, contact information, if you wanna contact our office or have additional information that you want us.
Now, all these emails that we do send you, will you send them where they need to go? Or do they just, you're gonna be the one to make the decision if it's an error that we're saying going on?
I won't make that decision. I will forward that to my superior, who's the Assistant Secretary of State, Dr. Patrick, and then he will ultimately determine, what to forward to the Mississippi Attorney General's office. But certainly, you're welcome to reach back.
You have to have a business card.
We were told,
You have to have a business card.
we were told on Wednesday that there were 68 or 68, I believe, ballots. 68, I believe, ballots that have to be, would be examined today. Okay, the city, I know, the city, I don't wanna say jump the gun. That doesn't equal 68, so the affidavit ballots for the 8 today do not equal 68. So why was the city saying there were 68 more ballots to be examined?
That would be a question for the clerk.
Can we get her?
Okay, how many affidavit ballots were last night, Monday, 30?
we weren't here. That is totally on our expertise. We're here for strictly this.
Monday night, there were 3 people on the resolution.
We can't answer anything, baby, about Monday night, because we weren't even here.
But my comment is, they were trained people. And so if you were to have a person today sick, none of you were with those 3. So why couldn't one of those 3 been here? They were trained, those 3 been here. They were trained resolution board members.
No, those would have been municipal election commissioners.
Those are commissioners. Those are commissioners.
Okay.
They're separate officers.
Separate, okay, gotcha.
Okay, we appreciate y'all coming, there's nothing.
Last question, y'all, last question.
Okay, last question.
Who is responsible for telling voters what they're supposed to do so, that their vote can be processed and accepted? Because with the affidavits, Miss April here is saying that they weren't trained, for 2 signatures on the affidavit. That's why a lot of them were thrown out on Monday.
Yeah.
So again, we're not qualified.
Yeah.
So again, we're not qualified for that.
Well, it's for her then, the Secretary of State, I'm asking her.
Okay, so what is your question?
Who is responsible to let the voters know, the difference? Well, 11 were, rejected because of not having 2 signatures, but Ms. April said they weren't trained to get 2 signatures. And even the year before, they didn't use 2 signatures, they only used 1 signature. So
Our office does not train the election workers, our office trains the clerks, and we train some of the municipal election commissioners, and the municipal election commissioners were trained to when they're trained, they're to pass that training on to the poll workers and the resolution board members. And part of that training includes training regarding the processing of affidavit ballots. And affidavit ballots do require a signature of the voter and a signature of the poll worker. It also requires that the voter complete why they're doing that affidavit ballot on that affidavit ballot envelope, and the voter must also include their address. If any of those things are missing, because it's to ensure the integrity of the affidavit ballot and to make certain that affidavit ballot, number one, was signed by the voter, and number two, was actually issued in the precinct by one of the poll workers, it has to have all of that information. If it doesn't have all of that information, it's an integrity issue, and that's the reason that they're so strict about requiring that. Now, we do train the municipal election commissioners. Whether or not they passed that information on to the poll workers, I do not know, but I do know at our municipal training that we emphasized, and I did some of the training, and we very strongly emphasized, make certain that your poll workers know they have to sign underneath the voter signature. Make certain that they have both the poll worker signature, the signature of the voter, and that the signature, the voter puts their the signature of the voter, and that the signature, the voter puts their current address on there, and the reason why they're having to vote affidavit. Their name's not on the poll book. Their name has AB marked by their name. They didn't provide an ID. Whatever the situation is, they need to mark one of those reasons. And if any of that is missing, the Mississippi Attorney General's office has said that the Municipal Election Commission has no choice, or the county election commissioners, if it's a county election, have no choice but to reject those affidavit ballots.
Is there a documentation for each affidavit ballot that is rejected? So that it's, I'm sorry to use this word, but it seems rather suspicious that all of the ballots for one ward were completely.
In the clerk's office, she's supposed to provide the voters with the reason, if it was rejected or accepted, and the reason. So that would be information maintained by the clerk's office.
Okay. Could you answer the one thing that you left out of the step, and people are wondering if it's also left out of the training? The poll managers are supposed to tell the person who files an affidavit ballot that they have 5 days, to get down to the courthouse and do whatever has to be done.
That only applies to two types of affidavit ballots, and that is if AB is marked by their name, and they're waiting on to determine if their absentee ballot was accepted. If their absentee ballot was accepted, the affidavit ballot will not count. So that's not one situation in which the 5-day rule applies. The second time it would apply would be if the voter failed to provide an ID. If they come in there without an ID, then they wait 5 days on those. If neither of those situations exist, or if the AB is by their name and their absentee ballot is actually processed on election night, they can go ahead and process those affidavit ballots. They do not have to wait the 5 business days.
Can you tell us who's responsible for holding the city clerk accountable for just anything? Is that just with the term of the mayor?
I don't know whose legal responsibility it is.
Okay.
I do not know that, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Well, she can do whatever she wants.
Okay.
On June the 3rd, a couple of county people came in, they was told they could not vote. They went to the courthouse told them they could not vote. But our clerk told Mr. Turnbull to tell us, well, you can't refuse any voters, but everyone knows it's a city election. Why would you come from the county to vote? And they told us to go ahead and let them fill out an affidavit, and it will be rejected once it got here. Why go through that process if you already know that you cannot come up here and vote?
It is illegal to vote outside your domicile, and those persons that are attempting to do so could be prosecuted by the county or district attorney. It's a direct code violation. It's Mississippi Code annotated 97-13-35. However, the policy is, under the Help America Vote Act, which I know this is not a federal election, but the general policy is, if somebody comes in and they want to vote, rather than turn them away, you're going to give them an opportunity to vote. And if their name is not on the poll book, or even if they're challenged, it's a whole different, if they're challenged, it's a whole different situation. That's a different situation. But say they want to vote and they're not on the poll book. And then in that case, you let them vote by affidavit and realize that they're outside in the county and not a registered voter of that municipality, that will lead to rejection of that affidavit ballot. Also, if somebody tries to do that and their vote is challenged, say by the poll worker, say you knew, and you could have challenged that person, say, we're gonna let you vote, but I'm gonna challenge your vote. Then it would be a decision among the poll workers, and if it's a unanimous decision that that challenge is valid and that person doesn't live in the municipality, then the person would fill out the ballot, and on the back of it, you would write challenged, and you would write rejected because they lived outside of the county. And that's kept kind of separately in your ballot box materials with your other challenge votes. If you couldn't reach a decision unanimously, it's still challenged, it's not cast in the ballot box, and you write couldn't reach a decision as to whether they're a resident or not. If it is decided unanimously among the poll workers in a challenge situation that, no, we think they are living and that they have lived in the municipality and that they are a resident of the municipality, and we don't know why their name's not on the poll book, but we believe that they are, and you do reach a unanimous decision on that, then they could cast a regular ballot. But because those persons were not on the poll book, the safest procedure, if they're not challenged, and the right procedure, is to let them go ahead and vote by affidavit. Then in the affidavit process, the election commissioners check that voter registration, and if in fact they're registered outside of the municipality, it does not count.
So ma'am, even though on the 3rd, when this voting went on, and everyone has voted, and it's time to back up, is it illegal for what our secretary told these I believe these people right here, to leave the box unlocked? Is that illegal?
We never.
But you do know that the box was left unlocked.
No, it was not.
Oh, you not there?
We don't.
She talking about at the poll.
At the poll?
Yes.
This
So
is
you-
a resolution.
This is a resolution.
Oh, so you don't have anything to do with
This
it?
meeting is over, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
I know we did that.
Y'all know, I know y'all get ready to go back, and we appreciate y'all for answering those questions. But the mayor told us that on Monday, that he would have the clerk to come in today and answer some questions for us. Could you just ask him, is that still gonna happen, or do we
Just
need
let
to
us know,
dismiss?
because we're not qualified to answer anymore.
That's fine, thank you all for answering the questions that you need to answer.
No, I'm not qualified to be up there either then.
Hey, please.
According to the Mississippi law, you can verify this. The reason the evidence book is you have to have a hard number. That's the reason. And what is happening here from observing, it's not their fault, it's only 2 of them, but the law requires 3. So therefore, we are in violation of the law right now.
Y'all be quiet.
They have done what they were asked to do at this point.
So they trying to bring in forts.
All right, they're gonna ask to see the clerk and come here, but please remain.
And y'all, once, they decide whether they come in or not, if you want like further instructions from our group, which is the Talent Justice Coalition, if you'll stand outside for a minute and we'll give y'all some further instructions on, what we plan to do next.
It's just the way they go about things. It's totally, it's disrespectful. We've had questions next Monday, and nobody's trying to answer those questions. That's not right.
Well, the only questions, Michelle's gotta be the one to answer.
Hey, if we can remain calm, we need to sit down, but we need to step out. Listen, we just need to we need to keep everything under control. We got this. We just need to remain calm. Not everybody can talk at the same time. You know, you're doing good by raising your hand. That's awesome. But sometimes we have to let somebody else be the spoken person.
Right.
So please, we on this together. But we can't. We on this together. But we can't be on the same level they are. We're not better than by no means, but we can play the game. We're not gonna play the game. We got our own game. Please.
Yes, I would like to know why isn't the mayor, the aldermen, the law says that they're supposed to be here. Nobody is here. They in the back. They are supposed.
That's why we request for the clerk to be here so we can ask them all these questions.
Okay.
That woman ain't coming. Nene.
Can we ask them?
Will somebody hold up? We can meet tomorrow. I probably can't meet until like 7:15. So what's so that we can all hear Secretary of State office with the, correct verbiage, everything that we've been saying and complaining we all got. Well, we got to follow the process. We got to follow one step when it's failed, then go to the next step. So that's what my next thing.
I thought somebody was gonna be here that could answer the question.
No, we were just told that somebody was gonna be from the Secretary of State office. Nobody said that it will be resolved to the shit. We got some questions about, like that. The city clerk today, and he told me that. So that's why I told him about that.
She ain't coming in here.
I don't think she will either.
She not.
So y'all, if I don't see him, let me go see him, and then I'll come back.
Sorry.
They are ashamed of themselves.
She not at work.
It's one of our aldermen.
Here come the police. Here they come back.
All right, can I have your attention?
I've been advised that, the meeting's over, and there will be no more questions at this time.
Thank you, Chief Collins, we appreciate you coming down today.
So the city clerk is refusing to come in and answer questions.
If y'all would step out in the parking lot for 1
They are. Okay, I guess that's it. Nothing is getting done today.